My name is Lisa, and I want to tell you about how things slowly changed in my family, and how I became the one holding everything together without even realizing it. We weren't rich, but we got by, just your regular middle-class family. My dad worked long shifts at a local factory, and my mom picked up cleaning jobs whenever she could. We lived in a small, modest house in a quiet neighborhood. It wasn't fancy, but it was home. I had a little sister named Michelle. She was 2 years younger than me, loud and full of energy, always getting into something or skipping chores to text her friends. She was carefree in a way I never felt I could afford to be. From a young age, I understood that money didn't come easy. I remember watching my parents sit at the kitchen table late at night, going over bills with tired eyes. Mom would sigh and rub her temples, and Dad would just stare at the numbers, quiet and worn out. They tried not to worry us, but I could feel the weight they carried. "Lisa, you're such a good kid," Mom would tell me, smiling as she passed by while I worked on my homework. "You work so hard." And I did. I studied every night, determined to make something of myself. I believed that if I got good grades and went to college, I could help change things for our family, not just for me, for all of us. When I turned 16, I got a job at the little cafe downtown. The manager asked if I had experience, and I told him honestly, "No, but I'm a fast learner and I really need this job." He gave me a chance, and just like that, I was working 20 hours a week, after school and on weekends. I didn't keep much for myself. I usually saved about $20 or $30 and gave the rest to my parents to help with bills. Michelle thought I was crazy. "Why are you doing all that?" she asked one evening. "Mom and Dad will figure it out. You don't have to fix everything." "Because we're a family," I told her. "Families help each other." She rolled her eyes and went back to scrolling on her phone. Still, I kept working and studying. I stayed up late, snuck in homework during lunch at school, and somehow managed to maintain a 4.0 GPA. It wasn't easy, but I kept pushing. In my senior year, my guidance counselor called me in for a meeting. She told me I had a strong shot at getting a full scholarship to the state college. "If you apply, I think you'll get it," she said. "Your grades, your job, your story, it all makes you a great candidate." And she was right. I got the scholarship. My parents were so happy. I was too. I knew they had been saving what little they could for my college, and now, they wouldn't have to spend it. A part of me hoped they'd do something nice for me with that money, maybe buy me a used car or help me get a better laptop for school. Something, anything. Then one evening, I came home from work and saw a brand new SUV parked in the driveway. "Whose car is that?" I asked, wide-eyed. "It's ours," Mom said with a grin. "We finally got a reliable car. Since we don't have to pay for your college anymore, we thought it was time." I nodded and smiled, but deep down, I felt something, disappointed. Maybe I didn't want anything big, but I had worked hard, sacrificed so much, and now that there was a little breathing room, none of it was used to make things easier for me. It stung more than I expected. Still, I didn't say anything. I went off to college with my backpack and my part-time job near campus. I figured I'd finally be able to use my money for myself. But it didn't take long before the calls started. First it was the water heater, then the electric bill, then groceries. Every time, there was a new emergency. "Just this once," they'd say. And every time, I sent them what I could. I told myself it was temporary, that they were struggling, that they needed me. But it wasn't temporary, it became constant. Meanwhile, Michelle didn't help. She decided not to go to college and moved out at 18. She was figuring things out, bouncing from job to job, apartment to apartment. No one asked her for help, and honestly, I don't think she would have offered. By the time I graduated with a degree in finance, I had been supporting my family for years. When I got my first real job at a financial firm, I was thrilled. The salary was amazing. I thought maybe, finally, things would change. But it didn't stop. Dad called one night, asking for help with the mortgage. "How much?" I asked. $1,800, he said quietly. "The factory cut my hours. We're coming up short this month." I looked at my account. I could afford it, so I paid it. The next month, it was utilities, then groceries, then Michelle needed help with rent, $1,000 a month. Before long, I was paying nearly $4,000 a month for my parents' mortgage, their utilities, and Michelle's rent. Month after month, year after year, they all leaned on me like I was a one-woman rescue team. Then I met David. He was kind and understanding, and we fell in love quickly. When we got married, he told me gently that he supported what I was doing, but maybe we needed to set some limits. We can't do this forever, he said. We have to think about our future, too. I knew he was right, but I kept helping. Until one day, everything changed. I found out I was pregnant. David was overjoyed. I was too, but I was also scared. Babies need a lot: money, time, space. Maternity leave meant less income, and suddenly, it hit me: I couldn't keep being everyone's safety net and still take care of my own growing family. David sat me down one evening. "We need to save," he said. "We need to prepare. Maybe it's time to talk to your family, start pulling back, not all at once, but gradually." I nodded, holding my belly, already feeling protective of the tiny life growing inside me. It was time. Time to choose myself, time to choose my future, and maybe, for once, ask my family to stand on their own. It had been almost 2 months since I told my parents I was pregnant and that I couldn't keep sending them money, and in all that time, I hadn't heard a word from them, not even a quick call to ask how I was feeling or how the baby was doing. I sat on the couch one evening and sighed. It's been 2 months, don't you think they'd at least check in on me? I mean, I'm having a baby. David looked at me with a sad expression. "Lisa, I hate to say it, but maybe they're more upset about the money than excited about becoming grandparents." I didn't want to believe that. These were the people who used to call me twice a week, sometimes asking for help with bills or errands, but still, they were involved. And now, nothing. Then one afternoon, I came home from work and checked the mailbox. There was a thick envelope inside, with a law firm's name on it. My hands were shaking as I opened it. What could this possibly be? It was a lawsuit. My parents, and Michelle, my sister, were suing me. They wanted $4,000 a month in financial support. "David," I called out, my voice trembling, "you need to see this." He read the papers slowly, then looked up at me, stunned. "They're suing you? Your own family?" The documents said my parents were retired and had no income, so they wanted me to keep paying their mortgage and utility bills. Michelle said she had based her entire life around my payments and couldn't live without them. She claimed she was struggling at work and could end up homeless. I sank into the couch, feeling numb. They didn't even talk to me first. They just went straight to court. David flipped through the papers again. "Look at the date they filed this. It was right after you told them you were pregnant. They've been planning this all along." That part hit me hardest. While I was waiting and hoping they'd reach out, they were getting lawyers to come after me. David stood up. "We need legal help. I know someone who deals with family cases. I'll call him." That's how we got in touch with Mr. Peterson, a family law attorney. He was kind, but direct. "This isn't a typical case," he told us. "In most states, adult children aren't legally required to support their parents or siblings, but we need to look into their financial claims. Something feels off." "What do you mean?" I asked. "Well," he said, "they say they're broke, but they're paying bills, living in their home, and hiring attorneys. Legal services aren't cheap." He was right. If they were really that broke, how were they surviving without my money? Then things got even worse. A few days later, my mom made a long, emotional post on Facebook. She said her ungrateful daughter had abandoned them in their time of need. She wrote, "We sacrificed so much to give Lisa a good life, and now she's turned her back on us." Michelle liked the post and added a comment: "Lisa got successful and decided she was too good for her own family. Really sad." After that, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Aunts, uncles, cousins, they all wanted to know what was going on. "Lisa, your mother is devastated," one aunt said. "Why would you cut them off?" I didn't want to explain everything over the phone. I didn't want to sound like I was attacking my family, even after everything they were doing. So I just told everyone, "I can't talk about it right now," and I hung up. The stress was getting to me. I couldn't sleep. My heart was always racing. The doctor had already warned me to stay calm during the pregnancy, but how could I, with all this going on? Then one morning, my boss called me into his office. "We got an anonymous tip," he said carefully. "Someone claimed you stole money from the company and used it to buy an apartment." I felt sick. "That's not true. I would never steal anything." I didn't believe it either. He said, "But we have to investigate. Security will audit your department." I knew right away who had done this: my family. They weren't just mad at me, They were trying to ruin my job and reputation. I understand, I told my boss, but I think this is coming from a family issue. Someone's trying to hurt me. He nodded. Just keep doing your work, we'll sort it out. But people in the office had already started whispering. Some coworkers were suddenly distant. I felt like everyone was watching me. The stress built up until I landed in the hospital. The doctors said there were complications with the pregnancy and kept me there for a week to monitor the baby. Lying in that hospital bed, I had a painful realization: my family didn't care about me, they cared about the money, and when I said no, they tried to destroy my life. 2 weeks later, Mr. Peterson called. "Lisa," he said, "you won't believe this. Your parents aren't broke at all. They won the lottery 4 years ago, $400,000. They've been living off the interest ever since." I was speechless. "They lied to you," he continued, "and to the court." When the trial started, my parents came in looking frail. My mother sat on the witness stand and said, "Lisa was our only income. We can't work anymore, we're struggling." My dad nodded beside her. "She abandoned us. We raised her, and this is how she thanks us." Michelle's testimony was even more dramatic. "Lisa ruined my life," she said. "She used to help me every month. I had to cancel my vacation and change everything. She owes me." Then Mr. Peterson stood up. "Your Honor," he said, holding up papers, "Lisa has given this family over $120,000. She had no legal duty to do that, and these people are not poor. They have an investment account with over $400,000 in lottery winnings." Michelle's jaw dropped. "You what?" she shouted, looking at our parents. "You won the lottery? You told me you were broke. You made me beg Lisa for money." "Michelle, calm down," Dad muttered. "No, you let me humiliate myself while you sat on a pile of money." Michelle turned to the judge. "I'm dropping my case. I want nothing to do with them." The courtroom was in chaos. Security had to escort Michelle out. The judge dismissed the whole lawsuit and ordered my parents to pay our legal fees. Then Mr. Peterson filed a harassment complaint. He showed the court my mother's social media posts and told them about the false tip to my job. "These people have stalked and harassed my client, who is pregnant. We ask for a restraining order." The judge agreed. My parents were banned from contacting me. By the time the court stuff ended, I was almost ready to give birth. I finally felt peace. I had a healthy baby boy and we named him Ryan. The work investigation cleared me completely. My boss apologized. "We knew it wasn't true," he said. "I'm so sorry you had to deal with that." Life finally started to feel normal. David and I enjoyed every moment with Ryan. I decided to take a full year off work to be with him. We even started a college fund, paid off debts, and began looking for a bigger house. For the first time, I was using my money to support my family, not people who could support themselves but chose to manipulate me instead. 6 months later, something unexpected happened. A courier dropped off a package. Inside were baby clothes and a card, "For Ryan, with love from Aunt Michelle." Then the phone rang. It was Michelle. "Lisa." "I'm sorry," she said, crying. "I was selfish and wrong. I didn't know about Mom and Dad's lottery money. They were playing us both. They didn't want us to get close because then we might figure them out." She was probably right. "I have a good job now," she continued. "I'm not asking for money. I just want to try again, maybe get to know my nephew." I was quiet for a while. "I need time, Michelle," I said softly. "I understand. Take all the time you need. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry, and I love you." I later heard my parents had burned through most of their savings in legal fees. My dad had to go back to work. They also stopped speaking to Michelle after she sided with me. Meanwhile, David and I had peace. We had everything we needed, and so did Ryan. I don't know if I'll ever hear from my parents again. Maybe someday they'll apologize, but I'm not holding my breath. As for Michelle, I haven't decided yet. Maybe one day, but not now.